Happy New Year! I'm Ryan.
And I'm Dillon.
And we're here to count down our top 5 movies that we watched in 2022.
Yeah, so not necessarily new releases, not movies that came out in 2022, just any that we happened to view during the year.
Yep.
Would you like to go first with
Yeah,
number
I'll
5?
kick it off with number 5, which was a rewatch for me that I didn't necessarily like the first time. Second viewing, I kind of liked it a lot more. There was more for me to find. Was Midsommar. An A24 film. We're big fans of A24, and this one is in there. It's kind of the story is kind of like a breakup story, like a horrific metaphor of a breakup story, where a woman has to cope with a family tragedy. She travels to join in on a festival in a small Swedish village that's kind of traditional, maybe a little culty. So there's a little horror movie for you.
Interesting. I haven't gotten around to that one myself yet. Florence Pugh in that
Florence Pugh in this one, yes.
I like her in what I've seen her in.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just hand that one over to you, and you can borrow
that. 2023. All right, thank you very much. And my number 5 spot was a rewatch for me also. And it was Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's funny. It holds up on a rewatch. It's because it's the kind of stupid, silly humor that is funny in any decade. So yeah, that one's really funny. Great cast. Very quotable. Anchorman.
Yeah, so my number 4, I certainly have a theme going on here. To spoil a little bit of the rest of my list, is another rewatch.
Oh, okay.
And that's the first Iron Man movie.
Really?
Iron Man
number 1
from 2008, I think. Went back and watched that, and that's a good movie. The first one,
it was big when it came out.
It's a good movie. It still holds up pretty well. You know, it makes you go like, yeah, some of the, Marvel movies in there maybe aren't like super great. That one's good as just a movie by itself.
Nice, interesting.
That's my number 4.
Iron Man number 1. My number 4 spot was not a rewatch for me, but it's also not a super new movie. But I got around to watching this movie called John Q with Denzel Washington, and it's very, very good. It also has Robert Duvall, James Woods, Ray Liotta. So basically, John Q's working at this factory. Him and his wife are struggling financially, and then their son gets sick. He needs a transplant. They can't afford it. They're trying to raise money. The hospital's trying to kick their kid out, not put them on the list, kick him out of the hospital. And so he's at his wit's end, and he decides to sort of take medicine into his own hands and see what he can get out of it. So it's pretty thrilling and also heartwarming in a way. John Q.
All right, my number 3 movie is The Adjustment Bureau. This is a kind of a romantic thriller.
That's a good way to put it.
I think that's a good way to put it. With Matt Damon, Emily Blunt. Matt Damon is a politician on the up and up with his career, and meets this woman who he instantly falls in love with. But there's a mysterious agency that tries to keep them apart. And this is just a really fun one. I mean, if you like a romantic movie, but you like some thrill in there too, this is one of my favorite movies. This was a rewatch. There we go.
A lot of rewatches this year, yeah.
But this is one of my favorite movies.
Nice. I like how you describe that as a romantic thriller.
Yeah.
I might need to rewatch that myself. My number 3 spot was a rewatch for me. If you already know what movies are good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Loving, which is based on the true story of Richard and Mildred Loving, just trying to get married, but they live in Virginia back in the middle of the 20th century when it's illegal for people of different races to get married. And it became a famous court case. But it's just a really touching, beautiful movie. Joel Edgerton as Richard Loving. Ruth Negga as Mildred Loving. Very good. Always fun to watch.
All right. Number 2, a rewatch. That is the classic 90s comedy Austin Powers. International Man of Mystery.
Nice one.
starring Mike Myers as Austin Powers, a British MI6 agent who gets cryogenically frozen and thawed back out in the 1990s to fight his old nemesis, Dr. Evil. This is also all-time great movie. Classic. It totally holds up.
Yeah,
you know, it had been a while since I watched it, and I'm glad that I did. It's so good.
That's funny. My number 2 is a rewatch that both of us just rewatched right before the end of 2022, and that is from 1988.
Yeah.
Rather, with a very young Bruce Willis. It's Die Hard, the first Die Hard. Absolutely fantastic. Yes, it's a Christmas movie. You should watch it every Christmas. It doesn't get old. I mean, what can you say? If you haven't seen Die Hard, you need to watch it. If you've seen Die Hard, I don't need to tell you why it's great.
Yeah. If you do need somebody else to tell you it's great, that's my number one movie that I watched in 2022 is Die Hard. And I also agree, it's a Christmas movie.
So much Christmas all throughout.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Die Hard just barely missed my number 1 spot because one of my all-time favorite movies, which in a way is similar to Die Hard, is an A24 movie called Green Room. It's also a siege movie, we could say. You got some people stuck in one place, and there's some bad guys. They need to get out, fight the bad guys. In this one, they're not cops, so they're not trained, but it's a young group of musicians in a punk band who get stuck in this venue that was a last-minute show on their tour, so no one knows they're there. And the venue's owned by this group of white supremacists. They happen to witness a crime happen back in the green room, and so they get trapped in there, and they have to try and get their way out. It's one of my all-time favorites, starring Anton Yelchin and Patrick Stewart. Okay, those were our top 5s. Do we have some honorable mentions?
I do have an honorable mention that just barely eked off my list. It is a new movie from 2022, and it's also a Marvel movie that I think a lot of other people that I had heard just colloquially. I didn't look up scores on Rotten Tomatoes or anything to see how it was received, but I really liked Thor: Love and Thunder.
The new Thor
The
one?
new Thor movie, yeah. It maybe wasn't the most action. It had a lot more emotion in it, and I kind of liked a lot of that was in there. So
nice. Thor: Love and Thunder. This is funny. We had a lot of rewatches in our top 5. My number 6 is also a 2022 new release movie, and it's a movie called Hustle. It stars Adam Sandler, but it's not a typical Adam Sandler comedy. His character is a basketball recruiter, so he recruits basketball players, but he kind of gets fired from his job and tries to go independent, and he goes to Spain to recruit other people, but he finds this guy in a public park and ends up recruiting him. And it stars a lot of actual professional basketball players in it, so that's really cool about it, and it's just a great sports drama. Very inspirational. Hustle.
Yeah, cool.
All right. So those were the best movies we saw in 2022. If you're ever tired of watching movies, you should read some of our books that we have available. You can go down to the description to find links for where you can order those.
Yeah, and let us know what were the best movies you watched in 2022.
Yeah, we need more movies to watch this year in 2023, so let us know in the comments below.
Stay tuned by clicking that bell and subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends to tune in too.
Yeah, click another video now. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.